Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, California, I was just told I have 24 hours to vacate my apartment so repair work can be performed, which may take more than a month. What are my rights? My apartment building flooded last week. My unit was less affected than the others, so fortunately there was not much damage. Fast forward to this morning and a team of workers showed up at my front door and was surprised to find that I was still living there. They told me that I was supposed to vacate the premises by today. Apparently the management team failed to tell me. Anyways, they said they would give me another day to collect my things and find another place to stay. In this situation, is the landlord required to reimburse me for the cost of finding a hotel or a new apartment to stay at? Edit, I should note this was not a natural flood, a pipe burst and flooded the ground units of the building, so they are demolishing the floors and walls of the ground floor to check for damages and make repairs. Edit number 2, I spoke with the Los Angeles Housing Department and they told me my unit falls under rent stabilization and that the landlord must provide 60 days notice and arrange accommodations. But they couldn't enforce that unless they caught my landlord in the act, so they would have to find them doing construction in my unit. They advised me to talk to my landlord before taking any further steps. I finally got the landlord on the line and he basically said he would try to get me a few more days to make arrangements, but said they would not cover the costs. He advised me to start an insurance claim, which I am doing now. I should also mention that they have already started working on other units on the ground level. So I can barely hear myself think amid all this construction. Edit number 3, I sent an email and certified letter to my landlord informing him that I would not be vacating before 7 AM tomorrow morning, pointing out that it is an unreasonable amount of time. One of my roommates is out of the country and they haven't provided any written notice requiring me to do so. I told them to follow the guidelines of the Rent Stabilization Ordinance, provide 60 days notice, provide a return date, and pay for temporary accommodations, food, and incidental expenses. Not sure what else to do at this point. My fear is they might just barge into the house and start tearing it apart. I am going to install a drop cam to keep the entryway under constant surveillance in the coming days. I also posted a notice on the door advising them not to enter without giving 24 hours notice, something they failed to do when they entered the house a few days ago. Edit number 4, I told the on-site manager I would not be moving out this evening because I had not been presented with a notice to vacate. Another fun update, my next door neighbor just told me he is calling the cops to inform them of an unlawful entry. It turns out that his unit was also entered without notice on Saturday, April 20th, so I am not alone there. Edit number 5, today was quiet. The property management reps have made no attempts to contact me since I submitted the letter refusing to vacate. I'm going to sit tight for now. I am setting up a surveillance cam in the foyer for peace of mind while I am at work. That is probably overkill, but if it eases my mind then it is worth it. I will post a proper update when I get a response from the leasing office. Even if they drop the issue entirely, I hope to be out of this place in a month or 2. And a user in the comments said, you don't have to leave because the workers tell you to leave. Contact your landlord to find out what is going on. And another user said, I would think with some damages it makes the place inhabitable for health reasons. Flooding, if from sewage pipes or even nature, can cause a boatload of problems. Not speaking on how they asked in removing you, just that 60-day notice in some situations is impossible. And guys, I'm curious, did you ever have to deal with flooding in your apartment? And I gotta say guys, here where I live in northern Thailand, flooding can be very common, especially because, I don't know how you call it, the drainage systems on the road are really bad, because more often than not there's trash in it, so the water cannot go away. So yeah, let us know about what sort of flooding you have experienced in the comments. Update to the I was given 24-hour notice to vacate my apartment story. I returned home today to find a notice on my door. It says 24-hour notice of intent to enter premises, addressed to me and other tenants, names misspelled. Will enter on April 25th at around 2 p.m. Workers and or contractors, handwritten notes. Work will be mitigation services to treat water from flooding that occurred. Approximate duration of work will be about 2 weeks or until further notice. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call management company. The management company's offices are closed until Monday. The note does not give any indication of what they intend to do, but the language suggests they expect the work will make the unit uninhabitable for at least 2 weeks. Can I refuse entry to the workers when they show up at 2 p.m? Can I call the police if they force their way inside? This is what I was told to do by a representative from HRC. They served the papers while I was at work, giving me no opportunity to reply by the time I got home at 6 p.m. this evening. State agencies are closed as well and will be until Monday. The language is vague and it does not detail what sort of work will be performed. It does not give a return date. What do you guys recommend? Update: the contractors inspected the unit but did not start working on it yet. They told me they would be ripping out floors, walls and replacing bathroom/kitchen areas. Not surprisingly, nobody from the management company was present to witness all of this. They want to start on Monday. I told them that won't work, and just like that, I am back where I started. To be continued. And a user in the comments said, surely they must have an emergency number for after hours? Call that. If you are forced to vacate tomorrow, make sure you take with you your copy of the lease, the notice you did receive, a copy of the certified letter you sent them as well as proof of delivery if you have that, and a printout of the email you sent. And copies of any other communications between you about the subject. You may need them in order to get the housing department to act, and once you leave you probably won't be permitted access to your apartment until the work has been completed. And guys, if you have watched until here and enjoy the legal advice stories, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments, and if you want to help out my channel, please also like the video. This would help my channel tremendously. Thank you so much in advance. I am really grateful for your support. And the last update to the 24-hour notice to vacate apartment story. Sorry for the long delay in providing an update. I suppose I waited so long because the ending was rather anticlimactic and the future remains a bit uncertain. Back in April/May, the conditions at the apartment became unbearable. Construction crews were working in the hallways just outside the unit, creating a ton of noise and discomfort. A fireman I spoke to who had visited the apartment told me he did not think it was safe for us to be there. A mildewy smell got increasingly worse and the landlord continued to insist that they would enter the apartment and render it uninhabitable. I did not want to put my pets, my property or myself at risk in the event that the construction crew would enter the apartment while I was away at work. I could not afford to stay home from work indefinitely and the stress of the situation was becoming a major distraction. So with all that in mind, my roommates and I moved into a hotel and started searching for a new apartment. Yes, we gave up and left. I informed the landlord that we were seeking temporary residence since we were being substantially displaced for various reasons. I didn't give them permission to enter or request that they begin the work. I left that determination to their discretion. The landlord had advised us that we were free to move out and would not be obligated to pay rent while renovations were being made, but I had no intention of ever going back. So I provided written notice of our intent to terminate the lease. I was relieved when they not only refunded the deposit in full, but also credited us for every day of rent since the day of the flood. Fortunately, I had a renter's policy that covered the situation. It took a few weeks to find a suitable home. Living in a hotel for several weeks with a pet was not very pleasant, but we found a great apartment that we've been very happy with. It costs a bit more and lacks some of the amenities we had enjoyed at our previous apartment, but the unit itself is nicer. I occasionally drive past the old apartment building and am amazed to see that there are still construction advisories posted outside. I feel bad for the other residents who have been living in the midst of ongoing construction for months now. Of all the units on the ground level, all have been vacated except for one. At this point I feel pretty relieved to have emerged relatively unscathed from the whole situation. It was a major headache, but my property remained safe and the expense was minimal. I have lost interest in taking them to small claims court over the insurance deductible, because even if I win I doubt they will pay up. I also worry about the effect that could have when I seek out an apartment in the future. Most of the rental apps I've seen have sections that ask if the applicant has ever sued his landlord. Finding a decent apartment in this city is difficult enough without having a reputation as a litigious tenant. And by the way guys, please correct me if I pronounce that incorrectly. One of the tenants who still lives at the old apartment is trying to organize the other tenants, current and former, to bring a lawsuit against the landlord and management company. It is tempting to get involved, but I am somewhat reluctant. Dealing with that mess was an incredibly stressful experience. I was ready to put it behind me. The thought of returning to it makes me anxious. I'm not sure what I will do at this point. I might go hear them out. That about covers everything. I wanted to wrap this up by thanking everyone for your advice and support. You helped keep me informed, confident and sane through a troubling ordeal. I am incredibly grateful. This subreddit rocks. Thanks everyone. And you know guys, I agree. As good as Legal Advice is though, I wish I could find a subreddit that is similar to this one and has plenty of new content to read. Because I gotta be honest, it is getting more and more difficult by the day to find good content on Legal Advice because I've already read so much. So, in case you have any subreddit or in general website/forum recommendations for things that are similar to Legal Advice, please post them in the comments. And the last one is titled, Brother's friend wanted a place to store a couple of wardrobes and a bed while he moved back with his parents until the crisis is over. My house is now packed full with urine stinky furniture. What can I legally do with it? Country is New South Wales, Australia. I get on okay with my brother, and his friend had not shown any hint of being an idiot over the last 15 years or so, so I went along with this. I will call my brother's friend Doug. My brother phoned me a while back and asked if I could do a favor for Doug, and he put Doug on, and Doug told me he's gotta move back in with his parents because he lacks work like all of us and needs a place to store a couple of wardrobes full of clothes and a bed for about 6 months until things open up again. My brother told Doug I had a spare room with not much in it, which is true, and I was happy to help, so I said sure, bring it over. The spare room is more than big enough for a couple of wardrobes and a bed. Through miscommunications and a shift change at work, I couldn't be there when Doug moved out of his old place and put his stuff in the spare room, so I dropped my spare key to my brother and he supervised Doug. On Friday afternoon, I came back home to a house packed full of what looks like every possession Doug has ever owned, packed into every room of my house, and almost all of it is urine stained and covered in mouse droppings. A couple of wardrobes full of clothes and a bed has turned into 2 wardrobes full of mouse droppings, clothes and boxes, a dozen garbage bags of more clothes, 6 chairs and a kitchen table, a bedside table, a dozen boxes of books, 2 bookcases, boxes of kitchen implements, half a dozen wall hangings and paintings, a house door covered in stickers, a credenza, a single bed and a double bed, both of them reek of urine and bloke, 4 small chests of drawers, 3 kitchen cupboards, a pair of card tables, and 2 refrigerators with food in the freezers and plugged into my power, and more bags of bedclothes, electronics, just about everything to fill a regular small house. Everything in the house stinks, and I cannot do this. I don't mean it just has a scent to it, it stinks badly. I can taste the stink in my mouth even when I am out of the house. With the heater on now, it is winter, it is nauseating. I phoned Doug and told him he has to come and get this all out, and he cannot. He's already 600 kilometers away on his parents' property and has no money left. I told him I'm going to dump the lot of it if he doesn't come get it, and he told me I had made a binding verbal agreement with him, and if I damaged anything of his he would come down on me like a ton of bricks with legal action. 10 minutes after getting off the phone with him, his dad phoned and made more threats the same. I cannot reach any of the shelving in my spare room. I cannot use half my couch or my art desk. I can only just reach my own clothing in my bedroom drawers, and I can only use 1 chair in my kitchen. I have contacted my brother and a stupid shrugging noise and said he thought that is what I agreed on. What am I legally allowed to do with all of this? I agreed to a couple of wardrobes and a bed. I did not agree to a house full of stuff. I want to at least get the worst of it out of the house immediately, but it's been raining and we have a week more rain forecast. I cannot afford to put it in storage. I am slowly draining my savings the last few months as work has been cut back due to the virus. I don't have a garage or shed. I have no undercover place to put any of this. Best I could do was borrow a tarp and wrap up the worst wardrobes and cling wrap the beds, but that is only a minor help as it all smells bad. I did a house plan drawing. Sorry, it is rubbish. On the left is my normal house, the TV is the lounge, S spare room, D desk room, B bedroom and K kitchen. On the right is the same with all of Doug's stuff added in red. And sorry guys, for some reason this image link did not work for me anymore. Anyway, edit. Okay, this has gone beyond legal advice and beyond a joke, I think. I just went around taking photos and Doug has a dried up used cat litter tray in the bottom of his wardrobe. Underneath clothing, the back of clothing have mouse nests in them and there are cockroaches. I have phoned friends, we are dumping it on the front lawn tonight. It is 11:30 p.m. here and I am texting Doug's parents with the photos and if they want any of it, they will come get it. I will deal with the consequences of that later. My sanity and sanitation is worth more. And a user in the comments said, Doug lied and broke the agreement first when he dumped far more than what he claimed he was leaving into your home. Therefore, you have no legal obligation to him, verbal or otherwise. They can make all the legal threats that they want. You never agreed to let him use your entire home as a storage unit, and the fact that this stuff makes your house unlivable should be enough for a judge to say you have done nothing wrong here. And guys, if you have a friend like Doug, you definitely don't need any enemies anymore. Update to the furniture story. It is all solved. On Monday morning I sent photos of everything disgusting I could and of Doug's furniture on the lawn to Doug and his dad, telling them it is beyond foul and I wouldn't be keeping any of it inside my house. And I will dump it this week if they don't come get it. 20 minutes later I got a call from Doug's mother. She asked if it was so bad, could I send her some evidence like photos. I told her I had already sent them to her son and dad. She yelled out in the background to one of them, "She says she did send the photos!" And then she got off the phone. Half an hour later she called me back and said they would be down to pick up Doug's stuff and apologized. She asked if his books were okay. Apart from the mouse gnawing and droppings, yes, I'm not a barbarian, they were outside but under the eaves. This morning they turned up from 600 kilometers away. Doug and his dad wanted to begin packing in their Pentac, but Doug's mom was not having any of that. They dumped 90% of it at the tip and came back and just took a few things home. Even the food in the freezers was off. His mom apologized and offered to make me good with cash, but she's already solved enough and I declined. She left it open-ended and said if I needed anything fixed to call her. I know I didn't follow legal advice, but this was the equivalent of someone asking you to hold onto a small keychain sized box for half a year, but instead they sneakily cover you in 50 kilos of feces. You are not allowed to wash off until you get a lawyer and fill out all the right paperwork and wait a month. I just couldn't do it. I got lucky. I've had words with my brother and changed the locks to my place too. He had opened up and let Doug and Doug's mate in. Then left the key behind with him. He didn't know how bad it was either. My brother is an idiot and Doug is a 32-year-old baby and hopefully I am a little wiser. And you know guys, that is really something I hate, when people exploit the kindness and generosity of others. Probably something I will never understand, to be honest with you. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.